Hello everyone, my name is Kate, and in the last video I talked a bit about the differences between studying in Hong Kong and in the UK. So for this video, let me tell you a bit more about the degree I am studying, which is the HKU-UCL Dual Degree Program in Law. So a bit about the program. Its first cohort was admitted in 2016, so it's a relatively new program. And it's a collaboration between UCL, University College London, and HKU, the University of Hong Kong. It's a 4-year program, and students in the program spend their first 2 years in UCL and their final 2 years at HKU. And the outcome is that we would graduate with 2 degrees, one from UCL and one from HKU. So you don't get any one of your degrees until you complete the entire program in both universities. For school fees, for your first 2 years at UCL, you have to pay the UCL overseas student fee, and for your final 2 years in HKU, you will be paying the HKU local students fee. For application, you may apply either through JUPAS or through UCAS, and it's a good idea to try applying to the program if you're interested in it, because no matter whether you apply through JUPAS or UCAS, if you fail in your application to this particular program, you will still be considered for the HKU LLB or the UCL LLB programs. For the intake, it's a rather small intake of around 10 students per year, 5 by each side. So now you might be thinking, oh well, that's all very interesting, but what's the deal with applying to this program, or what should I be wary of? So of course, for the pros, the first best thing is that you get 2 degrees in 4 years. So if you study a law degree in Hong Kong, an LLB program, you would have to spend 4 years studying, and you would get 1 degree from HKU. Now, you spend 4 years, you get to study 2 years in London, 2 years in Hong Kong, and you get 2 degrees from 2 really top universities. Secondly, you get to study in 2 different legal systems. So for me, I think that Hong Kong public law courses are more relatable, such as constitutional law courses teaching you about judicial review, etc. So I think that those are more relatable to the news surrounding us. But it's also very nice being able to compare the Hong Kong legal system to that in the UK. So you get to learn about both jurisdictions and compare their approaches to different areas of law, which I found quite interesting. Of course, another major selling point is that you get to study in London, because I think that it's a really good environment in both London and in UCL in particular. So for UCL, I think that it's a very friendly and intellectual community, especially for the law department. I think even before we met each other, it was a very collaborative environment where everyone was willing to share the things they've learned and to share information in general. There's also great social life at UCL. So for the Law Society, we had orientation camps, we had boat balls, Easter balls, Christmas balls, etc. Of course, London is also a very vibrant city where it's never boring. It's excellent for traveling to other European cities and also for traveling within the UK with your friends. And talking about friends, I think that taking the dual degree means that you can form a tight-knit group of friends, because there's only a handful of you in the degree, and you're basically bound to know each other quite well. So there are friends you could be traveling with and studying with and even living with during your time in London. For other advantages of studying dual degree, for law students, you don't have to take the conversion exams when you come back to take the PCLL. And for the disadvantages of the degree, I would say, is that the workload is quite heavy. So In HKU, we have to take 7 courses per semester, which means we take 14 courses in a year, which is a lot compared to other HKU students because they only take 5 courses per semester. And in UCL, although the courses we take in our first 2 years are the same as the students taking the 3-year LLB program, for students in the 3-year program, their first year marks don't count towards their final degree classification. But for dual degree students, our first year marks count towards our final degree classification, which means that if you're not sure what you're doing during your first year and you mess up your grades, this will reflect badly in your final degree classification for the UCL side of things. And for the second disadvantage apart from heavy workload is that I think it's more difficult to meet friends at HKU, just because you would be missing out from orientation camps, and you would also be missing out from the first 2 years where people are getting to know each other, etc. But of course, this depends on how outgoing you are and how willing to socialize you are. Finally, I'll be ending my talk with some tips on applying to the dual degree. So, as I mentioned, you can apply either through UCL or HKU. I applied through UCL, and it's generally thought to be the easier path. So, you apply to the dual degree, and you must take the LNAT exam, which is basically a reading comprehension and a writing exam, which you have to take for applying to certain law schools in the UK. And there is no interview process. For the LNAT, it's a difficult exam, but it's generally good enough if you manage to pass. Your personal statement is very important, and I think that you should really think of why you want to take law and put that reason on paper in a convincing way. And it's great if you have some law-related experience where you could share in your personal statement. If you apply through HKU, you would be applying to HKU LLB program through JUPAS, and you would have to fill in an additional application form to the dual degree, where you have to write a personal statement. There would also be an interview where, from what I gather, I know that there is a group interview. And this rounds up my sharing on the HKU-UCL Dual Degree Program in Law. Thanks a lot for listening.